Hey, Blue Devils. Hopefully everybody is safe and well right now. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Owen Yancher, and I coach swimming at Davis High. And with this video, I'm going to be kicking off a series of coaches chats with Blue Devil coaches over the next couple of weeks. You're going to hopefully get to hear from some different members of the athletic department and different coaches from different sports, chatting about some topics that we wouldn't otherwise get to cover during our busy seasons. So hopefully you can tune in, watch some of these videos, and learn some stuff that can help you regardless of the sport you play. I do want to say I wish I could be out on deck, obviously, with my swimmers right now, and I know every other coach feels the same way. This stinks, but we're going to try to make a positive experience out of this. I know a lot of coaches, including the swim team, were rolling out virtual stuff for you guys to do as far as lessons and stuff that you can do on your own, fitness plans. So stay tuned for those. We'll try to get those out to you as soon as we can in the coming days. But today I'm going to be talking about creating your own philosophy, athletic philosophy, life philosophy, that sort of thing. And this is a topic that was kind of new to me. I was only introduced to it a couple of years ago, and I was actually taking a coaching class, and we kind of penned down our own athletic philosophies. And I wish that someone had introduced me to the topic years earlier, because it would have really benefited me when I was a high school athlete, if I had had these things to think about. But I'll kind of explain what I mean by this as we go along here. Creating your, hopefully this works here. Yep. But really what I mean when I say philosophy is kind of your purpose for what you do, why you play sports, why you do everything you do in life. Let me move myself out of the way here. But this is your why you do things and why you do it the way that you do it, why you play sports, that sort of thing. It's kind of like the thesis statement for you, for your life. And those of you who are taking English classes know when your thesis statement is weak, your essay is generally weak. And when you don't have a thesis statement at all, generally you don't have much of an essay either. So what we're trying to do here is we're kind of going to try to put together that kind of purpose statement that's going to guide the rest of everything that we do here. So think back to kind of that analogy of a purpose statement for an essay, a thesis, as we kind of go along here. But what I find with a lot of athletes, and I was like this as well when I was in high school for a little bit, I didn't really have that target. I didn't have that purpose for what I was doing. I was a swimmer because it was fun, because I was a good swimmer. And a lot of athletes think that way too, and that can be okay. But not having that purpose in what you do in life and sports and everything is kind of like this guy right here. You're shooting arrows blindfolded. You might be putting in a lot of effort, but if you don't know what your main target is, what you're working for, what's the point, right? So that's what we're kind of trying to develop here through penning down this kind of athletic philosophy, life philosophy, if you will. And I've kind of broken it down here into these three things: your guiding principles, your core values, and then how you define success. So as we kind of go along here, I'm going to kind of walk through each of those. And these three things are what we're going to put together at the end to kind of develop what your philosophy is. But we're going to start by building a foundation. And this foundation, again, is made up of those three things. And this foundation is literally going to shape everything you do in life, outside of athletics, with athletics, everything. But again, going back to those three things, those guiding principles, those core values, and your definition of success. My face is in the way here. Make it smaller. There we go. Okay, so we'll start with the guiding principles, okay? These are your overarching beliefs. It's the framework for your behavior. And I've listed a couple here, just a couple examples, but these are the kind of things that people will print out and post up in their lockers, in their bathroom, on their bedroom wall. These are literally like the phrases and mottos that guide how you act, how you think people should be, how you want to be in life. Pursue excellence, give your best effort, be committed, dream big. These kind of broad ideas that kind of frame what you do. And I've got some slides here to give you some examples of some coaches and athletes guiding principles. Pete Carroll, I apologize to the 49ers fans, but Seattle Seahawks coach, his kind of guiding principle is do things better than they've ever been done before. And that's kind of an intense guiding principle, but then again, he's competing at the highest level of sports. Bill Belichick, another NFL coach, his number one guiding principle is do your job. You know, he's constantly harping on that to his players all the time. Do your job. When everybody does their job, it brings the rest of the team up. LeBron James, arguably one of the best basketball players ever. His is work hard, sleep hard, okay? We all know LeBron James trains hard, but he also knows that there's a time where he needs to rest his body, and that's where that sleep hard comes in, you know? There's a time to go hard, and there's a time to take it easy. And then what about Davis High? For us, our guiding principle, our big one for our athletic department, is pursuing victory with honor. And those 4 words guide everything that we do at Davis High. And that note that I have kind of written under here is it applies to everything, not just in athletic competition, but pursuing victory with your schoolwork, you know, pursuing victory in your work life. I know a lot of you have jobs outside of your sports and school. And just in general in life, pursuing victory, you know, excelling, pursuing excellence, as we talked about earlier. That's Davis High. So the second bullet point there is your core values, okay? And there are literally hundreds of these. You can Google core values and the lists are endless. But again, I've listed a couple here, and yours may be completely different. You may disagree with some of these. Some of these may weigh more than others for you. But these core values are broad concepts that can be applied to everything in life. Again, this transcends sports. It goes towards everything. And these guide all of your actions that you have. And like I said, some of these may be higher up on the pyramid for you. You may think that respect, you know, is the number one thing that kind of guides everything you do. For some of you, it might be commitment, responsibility. Discipline might be very important to you. People that are in the military, I know discipline is a huge thing for military families and things like that. But think about kind of those things. Where do those core values fit on the pyramid for you? What are those 2, 3, or 4 core values that are super important to you? And then the last part there, that third prong, is defining success. And this may be the most important of the 3 here that I'm talking about for making your own philosophy. And I have a star next to that first part, winning, there, because that's kind of a dangerous one, I think, for the way that you define success. And I know from my experience coaching at Davis High, a lot of you are extremely tough on yourselves. I know my swimmers are extremely tough on themselves, and you set these really lofty goals, you know, to get super fast times, to win meets, to do things like that. And when you're not able to reach those goals, it can be devastating. And I've seen how disappointed my athletes can be. And I'm sure that goes for a lot of other sports too. So sometimes defining success as far as winning can actually be pretty dangerous. And so I've listed some other things here that I think are other more productive ways that you can define success. Mastery is a good one too. I know that I played football in high school besides swimming, and I'll be watching the NFL on TV sometimes, and there will be calls, and referees will make, you know, calls that I don't even understand still. And I'm still constantly trying to learn what these things mean. In swimming, literally not a week will go by where I'm not introduced to a new drill or watch a swimmer doing something in the pool that changes how I look at things and maybe will alter how I want to give a set or how I want to, you know, do a practice. These sort of things, learning the ins and outs of your sport or your craft, whatever it is, inside or outside of sports, really important as well. And that third one is probably maybe the most popular way that a lot of people define success is, did you give it your all? Did you go 100%? And as a coach, when your athlete is giving that 100% effort, giving their best effort, what more can you ask for, right? That is an awesome way to define success. And even in loss, if you have given your all, you really can't be disappointed in your effort. And that's where athletes that are able to define success as giving that 100% effort are often able to rebound a lot better than the athletes that focus on winning, because they're able to take that as a learning opportunity, right? Something that they can use as an impetus to learn and get better from. And then improvement is a great way to look at success. If you're setting the bar. Swimmers will say, okay, I'm starting the season and my 50 freestyle time is 35 seconds. By the end of the season, I want to break 30. And if that first meet rolls along and you haven't broken 30 yet, sometimes they get devastated, right? Oh, I didn't reach that goal. I'm not improving. But if you can set those little incremental goals, I just want to take off a second for this meet, or I just want to beat that previous best time. That can make a huge difference for how satisfying you feel, how rewarding an experience is, if you just slowly change your frame of reference there. And that last bullet point, having fun. For a lot of us, the reason that we got into sports in the first place is because they were fun, right? We were kids and we were trying a new thing, and maybe our friends were doing it and it was fun. And a lot of the time as we get up higher, to the high school level and beyond, we sometimes forget that we still need to have that fun. And I know coaches, and we're guilty of this too. Sometimes we don't consider that. But I think it's important to always remember that there's a time to kick back a little bit and have fun. And just like LeBron said, work hard, sleep hard. There's that time where you can step back, relax, and kind of reflect like we're doing right now. It's not always kind of pedal to the metal, and it's important to think of that too. But I wanted to show you what my kind of guiding principles are, and I'll show you some other coaches that I really like. Two big ones for me are do the best you can and just have fun, and always remain a student. And that first one, again, goes back to that giving your 100%, always giving your best effort. And that's what I mean by doing the best you can. And just have fun is kind of, I'm putting together have fun and do the best you can into that one thing. And it's tough sometimes to walk the line between those two, but that's a great guiding principle for me to always remember to give 100% effort, but do it in a way that can be fun. And then the second bullet point there is to always be a lifelong learner. And what I mean by that is I always am constantly trying to take in new information, learn new things so that I can be at the top of my game, at the cutting edge. And for athletes, that's super important too. The athletes that stop and say, I've learned everything there is to be, I'm as good as I can be, are the ones that get passed up by the other athletes that are still soaking in all that knowledge and, trying to be better, striving to be better every single day in practice. So that's my second kind of big guiding principle, is to always be open-minded, always trying to learn new things. When I was in high school at Davis High and I played football, John Wiley was my football coach. He's now the head coach at Christian Brothers, but he had three guiding principles that he would repeat over and over and over again, and I will never forget them. But his three were: always give your best effort, don't be afraid to mess up, and if you do mess up, learn from your mistakes and work to prevent them from happening again. And I think that those are awesome guiding principles. And again, those go back to your definition of success. Nowhere in here does he mention winning. It's all about being the best that you can be and focusing on how you can improve when you don't reach, those goals that you've set for yourself. And then another mentor of mine is Lou Bronson, who has coached football at Davis High as well, but longtime football coach at UC Davis. And his big guiding principle is to create a better place to be. And it's all about environment for him. When one person is respecting their teammates, that brings all their teammates up. When one person is doing their job, like Bill Belichick was saying, it brings everybody up. So his big thing is creating an environment that's not just good for you, but is also good for your teammates, your coaches, bringing everybody else up around you. And I absolutely love that guiding principle as well. John Wooden, if you look up sports books, this guy has probably written a billion. Legendary UCLA men's basketball coach. He dominates, quotes that you can look up on sports, but how he defined success was, again, knowing you did your best to become the best that you are capable of becoming. Same thing. That goes right back to giving your best effort, going 100%. What more can you ask as a coach? And again, none of these mentors that I mentioned myself, nobody is mentioning winning here. And that's why I think winning can be such a dangerous, definition of success to get stuck on. But giving your best effort can make things so much more satisfying as far as setting goals and trying to reach them. Mike Krzyzewski, another legendary basketball coach. He's coached Team USA, and then obviously he's the coach at Duke. He says, define your own success and failure. Only you know whether or not you've given it your all. Same sort of thing. Giving your best, giving your 100% effort when you get the chance. The persistent pursuit of excellence determines winners, not the score of a game. Again, changing that frame of reference, changing how you look at things so that that score is that, the difference between winning and losing is not dictating how you see success. So again, going back to changing your frame of reference, I have these two kind of things here that I like. Your thoughts matter. If you're thinking, am I behind? Maybe instead of looking at it that way, you can reframe and ask yourself, what can I celebrate? If you are saying to yourself, crap, I messed up. Like I showed that John Wiley had said, instead of being afraid to mess up, learn from your mistakes. That's exactly what it's saying here. What did I learn? What can I try to tweak? Again, I just think it's looking at things in a different light can really change the experience for you. So I've given you all this information. None of it should be too earth-shattering. Hopefully it's stuff that you've already had kind of in the back of your mind, but maybe I've reactivated it. But what can you do with it now? So I challenge you to kind of grab a piece of paper, maybe. Hopefully you're social distancing, so nobody's around you. You don't have to be embarrassed about what you write down. But think about what are some of your guiding principles, things that are important to you, the mottos that you live by, and write 2 or 3 down. Write down some of those core values, that list of 100 things you can Google. What are 2 or 3 that really, weigh the heaviest for you? Think of those. And then define success. And this is not what success means for, your parents or your teammates. This is what success means to you. All of this is for you. And write those down. And from those, after you're done, try to develop a purpose statement, why you do what you do, be it in sports or outside of sports, in life in general. And that purpose statement is kind of your thesis, right? Your philosophy for sports, for life, for all those sort of things. And I find that when people kind of have this purpose, statement, when they're able to pen down this sort of thing, write down what's important to them, I think it can provide a lot of clarity for you. And my final kind of takeaway is, if you only take one thing out of this, kind of sit back and think about what it is about the sports that you participate in that you enjoy the most, and try to use that as motivation as you move forward, not just in athletics, but in life in general. Obviously, we're going through a tough time right now, right? Not being able to compete or be with each other. But I find that most people, I think, when they write down, these core values, these guiding principles, you'll find that a lot of these things, you can still find joy. You can still be successful, even on your own, in the situation that we are right now. So again, I challenge you to kind of create this athletics philosophy, create that life philosophy, and use it to fall back on maybe when you're disappointed, when you haven't reached those goals, or just to reframe your way of thinking as you go along in life or in your athletic career. But stay safe, stay home. Tune in next week. We'll hopefully get another video up here. Thanks for watching. Go Blue Devils.